Well, greetings, everyone. Welcome back for another riveting conversation. This is going to be a great conversation. We've had a great conversation before, and we're going to take this one to new heights, seeing what we might discover. So, I have with me today Cailín J. Callaghan. Cailín, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Nice. I'm happy. I'm happy you're here too. I'm happy to catch up because I think a lot has happened since last time we were together. Yeah, a lot has been going
Yeah.
on. Yeah. So introduce yourself. Feel free to introduce yourself and then we'll kind of get into things. Introduce yourself in the way
Okay.
that you desire to be known.
Okay. Well, as you said, my name's Colleen J. Callahan. I am a reverend. I'm a minister. I don't have a flock, except for all of you. I love you all. And I'm an NDer. Died when I was 20. I'm a channel for it appears the same being who dictated the Course in Miracles to Dr. Schuckman. Um, this information came out while we were writing together our most recent book, and I always recognized the voice as being very similar to A Course in Miracles, but I channel when I write his work, and this just came out, and I was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" So yeah, very surprising, but not in a way because, like I said, when you read his words, he sounds very much like A Course in Miracles. So, um, and I'm a spiritual coach. I help people with what I call lucidity. And lucidity is something I learned about from Michael. He's been teaching me about this from when I was a very young girl. He taught me about lucidity in nightmares and taking control of them. And then he broadened the context of the application of those techniques to life in the world, lucidity in the dream of the world as it is now. And it was also an issue, I mean, a topic during the NDE and a couple of Kundalini awakenings. The latest was well, actually, there have been three, but the latest was in 2007. So um, I have a couple of bachelor's degrees. Um, so I know a little bit about a lot of things.
Awesome, awesome. So we shared a great conversation last time we got together, and if you want to know a bit more about Colleen's NDE, I would say watch that video because we go in depth about everything and we cover many, many topics. But we're going to take it even further. We aren't going to backtrack. We're going to take it even further a
Good.
little bit. What's been going on since the last time we chatted? I know you wrote the new book, but what else have you had going on since then?
I moved. I bought another house in Middle Georgia, and moved my stuff there. And I've been kind of going between Florida and Georgia and trying to decide, if I was going to live half the year in Florida or half the year, half the year here, or just stay here mostly because I'm up in Georgia now. I really like it here. I love my house, and I love not being close enough to the water where I have to worry about hurricanes anymore. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's what's been, and I've been doing a lot of writing and a lot of coaching and trying to build up my own YouTube channel so that I can reach more people like that. It's
Yeah.
been busy. I mean, I just started moving my stuff last June. So I had a household I'd been in for 15 years. And when you move out of a house you've been in that long, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there is. There is. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. I feel like, well, after we had that conversation the first time, I wanted to follow up and, do something else right away. But I got taken on a journey, and I feel like I'm just now coming back around um, to me in greater depth. In greater depth, I went on a whole like vision quest, it seems, because I feel like now I feel more settled in what I'm here to do and how I'm here to do it, and so I have a bit more focus on how I am to share what I have to share with the world.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
more focused. I've noticed that
Yeah.
happening with me too. A little
Yeah.
more as we write these books, and we've written 3 nonfiction so far, but as we write these books, the message for me really crystallizes more and more, because I'm getting Michael speaking to me from his perspective, which is outside of space-time. He's literally, as Yeshua said, at the door knocking. He's
Mm.
standing in quantum eminence, which is the lustrous vast. He's there on the brink of where everything is on the brink of materialization. And so as he feeds this information down, they're building huge concepts into a mind that is not really built based, doesn't have the foundation to understand these vast concepts. And so he has to take apart some of what I think I know to rebuild on a better foundation on the tattered edges of my mind. So as I write, that happens. There's a constant reorganization. It's like breathing in his information, his perspective, and then it gets integrated with mine. And and some things have to come apart in my worldview for his to settle in there. So it's been a very interesting process over the
Interesting.
last year. Yeah.
Nice. So you explain to me how you perceive that relationship with Michael. Like, do you perceive him as something separate? Do you see him as something that's a part of you? How do you contextualize that relationship?
Michael is my higher self. All
Yeah.
right. When I asked him years ago, uh, what's the relationship? He said, and at the time, sometimes he can be quite terse, not in a negative way, just sparing on words, and often is. But he said, I made you from myself for myself. Okay. So he is my higher self. He uh, incarnated his energy as me in the world in this space and time, um, as a vehicle of perception and experience, but also, I'm finding out at this late date, and I can understand why it took so long. I'm 67 years old. But I'm realizing that all my life he's been preparing me to do what I'm doing now, to deliver this message. I feel like Dr. Schuchman passed away, and I'm one of his new methods of getting the information into the venue. And when I returned after my NDE, I felt that was 100% why I was coming back. I didn't realize it was just as much his idea as it was mine to come back, uh, because I thought I was doing all of that. That seemed very much my will and my power to just come back. Oh, thank you. Finally. Yeah, he's just reminding me of the thing that I wanted to talk about the difference between attraction and imaginifestation. So remind me of that later when it gets to be a good point. Okay.
Oh, that must be now because the first thing I had on my list was a manifestation. Literally. That's the
Ah,
very next thing I had to talk about because you are Queen Madam a Manifester. This is my nickname for you.
I'm the grand poobah of a manifestation.
Right. So I wanted you to explain your definition of a manifestation so then you can go into manifestation and attraction.
Okay. Imaginifestation. First of all, let me just say that lucidity, the act of observing your own self-talk and your emotions, observing your inner banter, is called metacognition. Okay. So when you are lucid, you not only abide in a state of metacognition where you're observing your own self-talk, you're also, as a lucid person, you're like the magus in the tarot or the magician, because you're observing the way your self-talk affects the environment around you. Okay. So imaginifestation says that your field integrates completely with the field of which you're just a part, the greater field. That field is source. That's all there is source. Okay. So your individual field integrates with the larger field. And if you want that larger field to deliver to you a particular experience, then you need to lucidly, okay, tune your own field so that it is a match for that outcome that you want. You don't tune it for, how a thing happens so much. You tune it for the outcome that you want. All right. So, like, let's say I want a swimming pool, and I want to be 50 pounds lighter. Okay. And I want perfect male companion. All right. Uh, so here I do my manifestations. You manifest, you envision yourself in the environment in which everything that stands as a challenge or an opportunity between you and the outcome you want, you envision yourself in that outcome. I call it a triumph scenario. Okay. So for me with the pool, I'm in the pool. I'm down at the end of the pool next to the privacy fence. I got my arms up on the side. I'm relaxing and the water's warm. It's bubbling a little bit. And it's evening time, sun's going down. There are strings of lights back and forth across my yard. It's all landscaped and beautiful around my new pool. I'm smelling the chlorine, seeing the little bit of steam rising up, the mist off the water. I'm looking through the side of my carport at my brand new Maserati. Might as well do it big, right? Because you have triumphed if you're driving a Maserati. So you see what I'm saying? And out the door, I hear the door open and close, and out the door comes a beautiful man, Michael, preferably, with a bottle of champagne, and he comes in and he, walks slowly down the steps, giving me beautiful hard eye contact, okay, with his gorgeous eyes just glistening with light, and he comes over and we sit down and enjoy drinking the champagne together. So that is an example of a triumph scenario. And the point of that is it made you smile. It made you smile. You could feel it. All right. And that's the point. It makes you feel it. Because you put the amount of energy into creating a very vivid experience in every sensory modality. Not like you're looking in through a window, but like it is projected all around you. Okay. So what you're doing with this is you are retuning your field so it is a match in frequency for that happy feeling of gratitude of having, I did it. Okay. Like that. That's why gratitude works, to make things better. Real gratitude, not just listing a bunch of things that you appreciate having, but putting yourself in the mood of gratitude, in the vibe. That is what changes your field, because the emotion changes your chemistry and the chemistry changes your field. All right. It's an electromagnetic resonance thing. So this is what a manifestation is for and what it does. And what you want to do is you want to use it when you want to approach something and you don't know exactly how to get there. You're going to leave the how I get there to the universe. You're just going to tell the universe with this manifested triumph scenario what outcome you like. And then you give it to the universe like planting a seed, okay? And you trust the universe will make it grow, right? The universe finds the way to make it happen. What was it again? Like you're the only other person I know.
Attraction.
No, that's it. So attraction is like you're trying all these various methods that don't affect your own field, do not change your vibration. In fact, what you're doing is you're saying, I don't have it, 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 I don't have it. With all of these things that you're doing, you're saying, I still don't have it. Okay. Manifesting, on the other hand, says, I'm going to create this experience for myself now, so I feel like I have it. All right. Because as long as you're pressing to get it, you're pushing it away. Okay. So there's a difference between the idea of attracting, which does not work. There is no law of attraction. Okay. there is no law of attraction, right? When I was a child, I'm sure we've all had this experience, but for me, dream yoga has been a very integral part of my spiritual development. We've all had, I'm sure, the experience of waking up from a dream that we did not want to leave, and we were disappointed. And I learned at a young age how to get back into the dream because Michael taught me, and it was simply to turn your attention to the last moment you recall being in that dream. What were you doing the last moment you were there? And you're on the edge of sleep anyway, you're not fully awake yet, and it's easier then. And you just maintain your lucidity, abiding as the metacogniter while you focus on that last moment and put all of your attention is the key, into that. So you're tunneling into that experience by creating the emotional resonance of it being the thing that you're actually feeling, you're actually doing. So there's the difference, basically. Attraction doesn't work. Manifestation does work. And it's the same thing what I'm saying is you tunnel into the experience and the outcome that you want by tuning yourself and putting all of your attention on the feeling of it already being so. This is already done feeling. It's already done.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's beautiful, beautiful explanation. I had this experience not too long ago where I had just finished creating my website, a first iteration of my website, and I thought to myself, "Oh, now I know myself well enough to have put it all in a website. All I need now is a place to store what I share. All I need is a place to create and house everything that I've been creating all this time. And within days of thinking that and feeling the feeling of having had that, I was presented with that, right? With that
Yes.
opportunity. It was nuts. It was
Yes.
in like 2 days. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it does. It works that way. As long as you're really striving towards something, you're actually in a state of resistance to what is.
Right.
Okay. You're like going, I gotta get it, I gotta get it, I gotta do it. Right.
Yeah.
You're pushing against it and you're pushing it away versus you just let it come to you in a way by retuning yourself. Yes, in a way, it comes to you. You're welcoming it to you right now in the moment with your manifestation. And this changes your field. So it can come instead of you pushing it away. In the meantime, and then you go about living your life as much as possible in concert with the thing that you're trying to manifest, the thing you're trying to make happen in the 4D world if you count time. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible. And it's like one of the things I mentioned to you earlier before we were on record is that I've been letting some of what's in the environment taint my own field. What's going on in the world taint my field. And there's a lot to be said for developing the lucidity to observe yourself doing this to yourself and wrecking your own chemistry, putting your field in disarray with behaviors that do not serve you. And then you laugh at it and you say, I should stop that and I should do something that heals my field and retunes me back into that gracious state of everything's all right. And even with everything weird going on in the world, I see this huge buildup of energy of resistance to the things that are happening. And I look at it and I don't feel, um, if I'm lucid and I mind my self-talk because I'm staying lucid, I don't feel really disturbed by it. Okay. I don't do doom scrolling. I scroll looking for evidence that the things that I want to happen are starting to happen.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Yeah. No doom
Yeah.
scrolling here.
Yeah. I don't look for bad news. I go, oh, look, there's some more evidence that people are starting to wake up. Oh, look, there it is again. You know?
Right.
So it's a different kind of philosophy. You have to understand there's nothing here but God.
Yeah.
There's nothing but God. And so when you ask for something from God, you're asking yourself to give yourself something. You're asking yourself to You're the giver, you're the receiver, you're the gift itself.
Right.
Okay, you're all of it. And so as long as you're saying, please, 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 you're putting the power outside yourself.
Right. Command the field. Command the field. Yeah.
Summon it to you. Command the
Yeah.
field in love, I
Yeah.
mean, not in any sort of haughtiness. Praise the field, saying, I'm so stoked. I'm so grateful for the way things have gone in my life and the way things are going now. And I see everything that I ever thought that was happening that was bad. I thought it was bad. It wasn't bad. It was
Mm.
happening for me. It developed me to this point, and it was pivotal in making all this goodness happen. If you keep yourself in that frame of mind, that's the experience you have. But
Mm.
the environment tests you.
It does.
Once
It does.
once you're in that lucidity and that surrender, things don't stop happening to test your lucidity and your surrender. In fact, more and more stuff seems to happen to a point to test your surrender and your lucidity. And I've been like the first time we went through the things we're going through now, I had to be put on anti-anxiety drugs, you know? And coming off of those was transformational. All right. I mean, this time I'm not having nearly the trouble with it because I'm staying lucid. I'm abiding, watching as the magician, watching how my self-talk affects the environment. Your self-talk affects your field. Your self-talk affects your emotions, affects your chemistry, affects your field. Your field affects the greater field. What are you bringing to the field? What is your self-talk contributing to the field?
Right.
You should ask yourself that constantly. What am I giving the field right now? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So just briefly, I hope this seems like a good spot.
Mm.
You tell me if not. Um, when I died, and after the revelation and the realization of my godly estate, I realized what I was, okay, what I am. Um, I still didn't know the technique for getting back into the dream of the world, because while I was in the lustrous vast of quantum immanence, it was very clear to me the world is just a dream. And I tell you it's just a dream because when your body falls off and you leave it, you find out right away, just like wakening from a dispiriting dream, nothing in that venue could have harmed me in any way. I'm an eternal being. My reality springs from a higher order of reality. Okay. So, but I asked Michael, how do I get back into the dream of the world? What's the technique? And he said, you can go back anywhere you like. You can go back in the future, you can go back in the past, you can go back in the moment before the accident occurred, and you can avert it. In which case, you'll feel a very strong sense of deja vu. But you won't remember anything you learned in your NDE consciously, because the NDE won't be part of the event cascade. You're avoiding the accident that led here if you do that. So the only way, he knew I wanted to come back and tell everybody this information. So he said, the only way you can take it back consciously is to enter again by your will through the last moment. Just like when you were a child and I taught you to get back into your dreams, put your attention on the last moment you were there and tunnel with your attention focused back into that experience, right? And so it's kind of important because with a manifestation, that's what you're doing. You're tunneling into with your attention and your intention focused. You're not looking for why it's not working. You're not looking for evidence that it's not working. You're just looking for what works, and you're tunneling into the experience.
Is that, I keep hearing quantum tunneling. Is that like a similar concept?
I think it is. I think
Yeah.
it is. I really don't. I'm expecting that it is based on the serendipity of you hearing it in your head while we're talking
Yeah.
about it. But
Yeah.
I've never looked it up.
Yeah.
It is a tunneling effect, and you're doing it. We do it constantly. We just don't notice it because the field so seamlessly delivers the transitions. Like you put out there that you wanted this, this platform, etc. And bada boom, bada bing, it came.
Mm.
Okay. I'm sure there were steps, but not steps that um, there's a certain magic to it. Things unfold with grace.
Right.
That, if you
That,
find yourself pushing really hard, you're pushing it away.
yeah, that was no efforting on my part. I've learned not to effort and just kind of go with the flow and surrender. Put it out there and let go. Yeah. Yeah.
That's key because you're trusting the field. This is
Yeah.
another mistake people make. Two big mistakes. One, you're pleading with something outside of you, so you think, for what you want. Okay? And the other is you have an adversarial attitude with the field. You think you have to wrest from the field everything you want and need. But the field is you. And so if you're in the vibe of saying, I'm in this adversarial relationship with the field, the universe doesn't want to give me what I need, the universe can't give you what it needs because you're never going to perceive what you need because you won't perceive that it was given to you. You'll think you took it. Okay. And the universe wants to give it to you. So it has to wait until you stop trying to take it so that you'll see, aha, it was given me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My
Yeah, I
dad,
do.
a perfect lesson for this. I mean, it's a little sad, but my dad was blistering my butt. When I was a kid, he used to blister me every day. Okay. And I made up my mind this one afternoon. I was not going to, because he'd sent me with his pocket knife to cut a switch that he was going to spank me with, right? And while I was cutting the switch, I decided I'm not going to cry this time. This time I'm going to talk to him and share my heart while he's hitting me. And so as he was hitting me, in between, I asked him, how will you ever know I'm doing what you want me to do because I love you if you think I'm doing it because I'm scared of you? It's the same thing with the universe. How will you ever know the universe is giving you everything because it loves you if you are always thinking you have to take it?
You said a mouthful because this goes back to the importance of knowing who and what you are. Because if you don't know
Exactly.
who and what you are, you can't get there. You will never get there because you'll always perceive the external as being separate from you, right?
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah,
it's not. It's a
it's not at
projection
all.
of you. It's a
Yes.
projection. It's the universe is trying to teach you first where power is. It's trying to wake you up in the dream. Just like Michael tried to wake me up in lucid dreams, okay? It's trying to wake you up so it shows you what you're doing. It gives you your vibe, holds it up. See what you're doing? This is your vibe. This is what you're doing, and it's just a perfect mirror. It's trying to wake us up by showing us is this what you want to contribute to the field? Is this really what you want to? Okay, here it is.
Right,
you
right,
know?
right. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah, that's it. That speaks to the importance of observation. And one thing that makes it all a challenge is that reactive response to the external projection. That
Oh
reactive
my God,
response, getting
yes.
so sucked in. So how can people move beyond that reactive response to life and get in a space where they are open to assessing the projection for what it is?
Okay, the very first thing that has to happen is you have to catch yourself doing the unhealthy behaviors, all right, like doom scrolling. You have to catch yourself. You have to catch yourself picking at the scab of your healing mind. Okay. You have to stop doing that. But you have to catch yourself doing it first. Noticing the way what you're clicking on. Now, this is important because when you click on a thing, you're telling the algorithm that you want more of this, please.
Okay, I say this all the time that life presents like a series of Facebook ads. And if you spend too much time with your attention focused on one thing, you're going to get more of that and more of that and more of that. It's no different.
Yes, and so it's like it's not like social media and the algorithms caused us to stop talking to one another. You see people at dinner with their together with their phones out. and the most interaction you're getting is about what they're reading on their phone. Okay, now it's good to use it to spur conversation. All right, that's fine. And to fact check, that's fine. But the thing is, we stopped making eye contact, we stopped talking to one another. Okay, we all went into our bubbles. All right. And then there's the algorithm. In the first place, it was too much for us to deal with. So we just tunneled into the bubble in our hand, in the phone, right? We tunneled into that with our attention. And then we said to the algorithm in the phone, more of that, please, more of that, please, more of that, please. So the algorithm gave us more and more of the same thing. It kept telling us, yes, you're absolutely right. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket, right? So it's no wonder, and that has resulted in the fracturing of society. So it's not that the social media caused us to stop talking to one another. We stopped talking to one another so that social media and the algorithm hijacked the narrative.
Mm.
It could hijack the narrative because we stopped talking to one another. So now there's a whole bunch of polarization happening where there appear to be different sides and people are hating on each other. And when you actually get out there and talk to people, for the most part, they are not monsters. Even if they're not in political agreement with you, they're just human beings trying to live. And unfortunately, most of them are sucked into a feedback bubble. Most of us are. All right. So you need to be, first of all, observing the fact that you're clicking on stuff that takes you down rabbit holes that are not healthy and that wreck your field. So what you're interacting, what you're showing the universe, which is like a big algorithm too, in a way, the field. All right. What you're showing to the field is toxic. And so the field echoes toxic, mirrors it back at you. So if you catch yourself doing it, the next step is to intervene and say, okay, now what can I do? First of all, observe it, observe the feelings, interrogate them, interrogate your feelings. What are they saying to you? What are your feelings saying? Put them in words. Okay. And after you've interrogated them and you realize most of it's full of beliefs, self-talk that is just as much a lie as it is truth, because it's not holy. It doesn't take everyone's position into account. It's just bubbleized. It's made you the victim or the hero. And then you have to realize that you have the power to substitute healthy behavior, healthy self-talk, healthy clicking. Click on what you really want more of for everyone. Don't be out there clicking looking for vengeance. Don't be out there clicking looking for revenge. All right. Don't be out there clicking looking. And it's so sad too, because I see all over the place now. Da 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 da. Whatever is happening, okay. I don't know. Let's just take any ridiculous thing. The garbage collectors are all on strike, and it's terrifying. Three Eye Atlas has changed course, and it's terrifying. Okay, so it's everywhere. Okay, NASA has decided it's terrifying. All right, and everything's terrifying. You know why that's proliferating? Because you keep clicking on it.
It's
You want to be terrified? Look, we've been feeding ourselves a steady diet of movies for the last 50 years of horrors happening. Little wonder, horrors and wonders are happening. Weird things are appearing in the sky. We've been watching this. We've
right.
been sending it into the field. Oh my God, I want to be scared.
Right. I was
Why
just
do you
telling
pay
my
money?
husband, yeah, I was just telling my husband this the other day. I was like, how distorted are we as a society that you want to be afraid? Like you pay to be scared to death, right?
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? No, when I was first, just a couple of years after the NDE, which I was 20 years old. So for the next 4 years, I was having a lot of really vivid lucid dream work happening. And, you know, hang on a second, it'll come back. I'm trying to remember where I was going with that. That's probably not important. We'll wait for it to come back later.
Nice, nice, nice. But all that you said speaks to our power as beings that most of us don't ever step into the realization of. You mentioned in your
No.
book that we are the God of our own reckonings, right? Creators of our
Yes.
own experience. Speak to that a little bit, the God of our own reckonings.
Well, okay, your reckonings are the things you tell yourself as true. The things you say to yourself are true. And if you're lucid, you're going to notice that a lot of what you've been saying to yourself, your belief system, is not so. It's not so. It's not fair to everyone involved. And first of all, it's not serving you. It's making you miserable. It's not making you happy and healthy, and it's not contributing to your prosperity. So we want to intentionally, lucidly cultivate our own narrative, our own. We want to pick and choose what we allow into our minds. Our minds are actually just like software, a belief system, a set of statements that's designed, gives it to you. You get it when you're a kid, they're growing up, they're giving you stuff, poking, you're impressionable. Half of the time, you're still in theta brainwave state, even though you're awake when you're a kid. And so it's easy to get stuff into your head. And this is what we call the subconscious or unconscious mind. You're not aware of it. That's all unconscious is. You haven't actively been lucidly looking at it and interrogating it and saying, is this true and is it serving me? Okay, that's all unconscious means. It doesn't mean you can't access it. It means you have to put your attention on it. You have to look. All right. So if you if you are lucid and you see more and more that you're the one who has the power to change not only your own biochemical state by your own self-talk and where you put your attention, you can also change the environment and what's happening around you. Takes a little time. There's a lag, and we can talk about that, why the lag is necessary. Okay. But the more you do this, the more you realize that you are the God of your own reckonings. You have the power to decide, I'm not going to say that to myself anymore. It's not healthy. It's not even true. And the cool thing about it is this takes no effort. Done correctly, you interrogate the emotions, put it into words. Once you put it into words, and when you know you've got it right, and you'll know when you've got it right. If you have to ask, you don't have it right yet. You haven't distilled it enough. You get it into words, and then you actually see that it's not true, it's not serving you, it's not fair, and the emotion just dissipates. Now, it got all of its energy from you. And so it comes back, that energy that dissipates, that felt like emotion before, comes back to you and brightens, and I would like to say hardens, but it really more makes your lucidity more intense and resilient so that you have more power to confront and interrogate your own wrongful self-talk, your own self-harming, world-harming self-talk. Okay, so you are the God of your own reckonings. You have to put your attention on them, just see clearly that they are not serving you, and the energy you gave them to affect you comes back to you, consciousness, which is what you are. Clearly, you are the God of everything you say to yourself. You're in charge.
Right. Creators of your own experience. And this is
That's right.
reclaiming aspects, reclaiming the
Now, this
fragmented
is your,
aspects of self. So now speak to
yes.
that. You mentioned the lag between your,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
We're godlings.
yeah,
We are godlings. We have all the power of God. That's the second thing that the field is trying to do. It shows us what we're creating, and it's trying to teach us that we're creating it and we have the power to create it. If you want your words to have power, you must first cull from your speech and your thoughts everything that you would not really will to empower. Okay? You hear yourself saying, oh, I wish all those would just drop dead. All right. You don't really mean that. And when you give your energy to something like that, all right, you're harming yourself and you're poisoning the field. Mhm. You're poisoning the well we all drink from. Okay. Spiritually speaking. What was the initial question you asked me to get me down this rabbit hole?
the lag, the lag.
The lag. The lag is very necessary because if you don't see that you're creating it, All right. You're going to continue to make rash utterances. The universe is at the same time it's showing you the field, at the same time it's showing you what you're projecting. It's also trying to protect you from hurting yourself or anybody else. All right. Now, I don't mean just physically hurting, I mean spiritually hurting, because you can really spiritually harm yourself with your own self-talk and basic delusions that you've invested in so much that you've been bubbleized into that's all you can see. Okay. So the lag is necessary to prevent you from manifesting serious harm because of your rash utterances and your angry thoughts. And once you begin to be lucid, observing your thoughts, you see how much vitriol is in there and how much it's harming you. And you're feeding that to the field. You're poisoning everybody at the same time, but mostly you first. Okay. Once you realize that, you see why you're going to be grateful the universe doesn't give me everything I ask for, because sometimes I ask for things that are really horrible. Okay. So the lag is to give you time as it begins to materialize, because the thing you speak into being will materialize, but it does so slowly. So you have an opportunity to say, oh, I didn't really mean that, and change your mind, act as the God of your reckonings and turn it back around. All right. So that's why the lag is there. Once you're God, but you won't let yourself access your power. You will not let yourself access your power as long as you know you can't be trusted with it. So the only way you can actually access your power is to perfect your benevolence. That's it. So this is a wonderful time to perfect your benevolence, because there's so much out there that makes you want to hit back. Okay. So now is the time to really build your benevolence by lucidly examining your self-talk, where the self-talk is hitting back and painting you as the victim and the righteously outraged individual. Observe that, all right? And then you have the power to choose to say something fairer, something more magnanimous, something really beautiful like, I surrender. I don't know the best outcome. I'm going to trust in the greater me, the larger me, conscious of more of everything that's going on, to bring to me this special outcome. See, that's why you focus on the particular outcome that you want, and you don't natter at the universe for all the particulars of how it gets there. You see?
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah,
sense?
it does. It does. So now, wait, what's the difference in the power? Because somebody could look at that and say, "Well, I am in my power. I got pissed off. I said some stuff, and I tore some shit up. I destroyed that. So I am powerful, right?" What's the difference between that degree of power versus that benevolent power? How do you make that distinction? How would one make that distinction between the two? Because either
You're
way,
not
you're
in power.
wielding power, right?
No, not really. No, your
Okay.
emotions are actually wielding power over you. Your self talk and your emotions are running roughshod over your self control. If you want to be, anybody can lose it. Anybody can lose it. All right. Nobody respects somebody who, under minor provocation, goes off, because anybody can do that. So, no, you're not in your power. You're in your power when you're in graciousness. Okay. No matter what the hell is going on. when you're in when you're in peace, no matter what the hell is going on. And like I said to you before, lately I've been, as I'm scrolling, not doom scrolling, but joy scrolling, I'm in there looking for evidence that the things I want to happen are starting to happen, and they are. Okay. So you have to actively go out and look for, that's another thing. Your expectations cause a lot of what manifests for you. Because when you expect a thing, it goes without saying. You expect to not be able to fly in this world, to just lift off and fly. All right. That's an expectation. And because you have these unexamined expectations of limitation, you have an experience, we all have an experience of being limited beings. So we're not in our power, we're at the mercy of the environment. even in the experience of mostly often being at the mercy of the environment and having to deal with the world, the seat of your power is in being able to withdraw your energy from being and conserve it within you in a state of grace and acceptance and love and peace when everything seems to be going crazy around you. And the Bible does talk about this, not that I particularly endorse the book, but it talks about the peace that surpasses understanding, right? This is your power.
Yes. Now, we talked a lot about the ability to create with intention, and women are the physical embodiment of creators on the planet. What do you see as the importance of women in this shift we are making consciously? Because I feel like women hold a very pivotal role in this shift in consciousness. We have a great role, a very serious role to play, and many of us are realizing that it's our time to step to the forefront and do what it is that we came here to do. So, what do you see as the role of women in this evolutionary shift in consciousness?
Well, I think it's for everybody.
Mm,
Okay. The shift is for everybody. But, okay, I have to say, minorities and women who have been more oppressed have had more opportunity to practice the kind of surrendered inner strength I'm talking about because uh, the injustices are so many. And I'm a Libra, and I'm Venus in Libra. And so when I see injustice, it has a particular button for me. And lies, oh my God, they're just, they really get to me in the past. And that's why I had trouble the last time we went through this situation, because the lies were just everywhere. But when the emotions rage inside of you because of some oppression, injustice, a lie, and women and minorities get more of that, okay? You're actually experiencing an excellent opportunity to develop sovereignty over your lucidity and sovereignty that comes with the lucidity over your emotional state and the state of your field. Okay, so we've had a lot more practice at having to not, a lot of times we stuff it, okay, instead of transmuting it. And transmuting it is something you do lucidly, all right? You take the venom of the poison in a bad situation that would normally wreck your field because the emotions are so volatile, unpleasant, not benevolent at all, that develop because of the injustice. You just feel so outraged, okay? You can take that and you can, by interrogating your self-talk and observing it lucidly, you can transmute that into more lucidity rather than just stuffing it so it's building up and building pressure. Because women and minorities have had a lot more opportunity to practice than in this country, white males, we just have more practice. In fact, society has trained men not to be in touch with their tenderness and their love, but with their aggression, their dominance, and their conquest. All right. Whereas society trains women to be, more submissive, traditionally more submissive, more nurturing, more loving. Okay. More into beauty. And we've managed to do all of that. Women have managed to do all of that. I mean, to make things beautiful even under duress, to make things good for those we love, even when we're doing without, okay, because something that we want, but it's okay. We don't mind because we're transmuting what others would see as a sacrifice into a strengthening of the soul body, a strengthening of the energetic field, okay, a strengthening of your lucidity that allows you to the self-control to not stab or throat punch someone, okay, because every day I get through without stabbing or throat punching anybody, I think today's been a very good day. Right? So women know how to do this better than men because men are not trained to do it. women haven't been really trained to do it lucidly and transmute it. We've mostly stuffed it. But what happens is somewhere in there, the state of grace enters. You feel witnessed. There's this benevolence that comes upon you, this presence that visits you. The chi flows go through the body, grace descends, and you are able to let it go instead of having this massive buildup of negative energy in your field, of aggressive energy in your field. So outraged energy in your field. So I would say women need to take the lead. And I think that men are understandably right now, I'd say they're understandably confused. I think women can take the lead, especially, you don't have to use the same words. I mean, we write about lucidity. You don't have to call it that. It's just because when you're lucid in dreams, and the world is just a dream. So if you're lucid in the world, you're seeing your emotions rather than being your emotions. You're seeing the self-talk rather than being the self-talk. And when you're being the self-talk and being the emotions, you have no ability to change and examine them. You're not present. You're just caught up in the emotions. All right. So women, I think, can take the lead in this and demonstrate it for each other and for children. We need to teach children how to handle emotions in this way, so that they learn at an early age how to be lucid and how to be conscious, because this is the shift. The shift is a shift away from identification, from being the self-talk and being the emotions, to being the observer, the metacogniter, wielding your will and your attention to change your field. Okay, change your self-talk. If you can't be the god of your own reckonings and your own field, how can you expect to be entrusted with power to affect the greater environment, the soup we all share?
Right.
Okay. So I think that, women have the best opportunity to absorb these concepts, these understandings, lucidity. This is the awakening. It is when you wake up in the dream of the world, you realize you have control, not full control because we're here together, but you have full control over you, and you have much more control over the environment. And newsflash, as soon as the field figures out that you can be trusted to wield power competently without hurting anyone, you begin, your words that you want to empower are empowered. All right.
Fantastic, fantastic. But that sounds great in theory, but in practice, somebody who's out there in the field, not gut punching someone or having the
Throat, throat.
awareness, like not having the ability to just take a moment to breathe rather than reacting, that's easier said than done a lot of times,
Oh
so
yeah, it
it's a
definitely is.
process.
But this is dyed hair because I'm 67. But this is a sign of fiery temperament here. All right. And I'm Irish. And I have the berserker gene. All right. So I've spent my life, and that's wonderful too, because I had the berserker gene, and I don't know if you know about that, but once you upset a berserker to the point where they're no longer really conscious, they're not lucid at all. Say you're hitting them and they're trying to back you off, and they finally fight back. Suddenly, okay, they don't feel pain. A berserker does not feel pain. They're startling efficacious. They're when they come back to themselves, you're down, the other person's down. They don't remember necessarily even touching them. Okay, because this happened to me so many times as a child. Okay, I had a lot of abuse in my family, and I would say, please stop, please stop, I don't want to hurt you, I don't want to hurt you. And I noticed a couple of symptoms because I was paying attention so I could make it stop. And that's the key thing. You want to pay attention so you can make it stop, so you can stop yourself. You have to pay attention to what's going on inside you so you know when you need to back off, maybe walk away and go take a breather because you're reaching critical mass. The dilithium crystals are starting to disintegrate. You know, you gotta move. So for me, that was an early burden because I thought it was reprehensible that even if somebody was beating me up, eventually I cracked and I struck back, right? I thought it was just horrible. I was apparently a natural pacifist, okay? And so I paid a lot of attention to the symptoms, and that's what that it was going to do. And I noticed the first thing that would start to happen when I was getting I didn't experience it as anger. It was my system gearing up to defend itself. All right. Was I would see little tunnels going down to spots on the person, pressure points where they should, good place to hit them. Okay. I'm alarmed at this. I'm going like, what do you mean that's a good place to hit them? Why is my brain doing targeting? Whoosh, 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 whoosh. You know, that for me was, and I realized, okay, that's one of the first things that happens to me when the person is about to set me off. And so I learned to walk away. You know, eventually I learned to just, with family, it's hard because they, a lot of times they pretend they don't understand what you're saying when you're pleading your case. But, spoiler, a lot of times they understand exactly what you're saying, but they get a feeling of power over you to keep you, by denying you the acknowledgement, to keep you dancing on, you know, their little puppet strings. So you're trying to explain. So I understand. I grew up in a very, an environment where it was really good for practicing these skills. Okay. And yeah, it really, and then I was a cop for 4 years and it was my job to be the one who was, you know, okay, not freaking out. Yeah, it's hard, but you can do it. You can do it. And, there's no other way. It's up to you. In the end, there's a lot going on the internet, people looking for, uh, you know, ways to access power, ways to get more stuff, ways to get more money and stuff like that. All of that comes to you. Yeshua told us that to seek you first the kingdom, the rest will be added unto you. You are the kingdom. Lucidity is the kingdom of God within you. Okay. So once, I mean, I'm healthier than I've been in decades, even with the stuff that triggered me before going on. Because once you know what you are and you realize this world is an illusion, it's a dream, the body's a dream too. So this is why placebo effect happens and we have the ability to heal just like that when we take back our power, or if we really give our power by belief in a substance that we take. That's the placebo effect, but it's really all you giving that thing power to heal you. You know, so yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's hard. I get it. It's hard for me too. But I came back from the dead, specifically raised myself from the dead, put myself back in my body. Nobody revived me, okay? Because this is simple, but it is not easy. Okay? It's just do it over and over again. Stop yourself, observe your inner self-talk, because it's never the thing that's happening in the world that's upsetting you. It's what you're saying to yourself about it. That's what's upsetting. Okay? So yeah, it's hard. But once you learn this, you fall back on it over and over again. And every time it works for you, and it will work, lucidity, you get stronger. Okay? And it's the way out. And it's the first thing you need. It is the kingdom of God to which everything else is added. Okay? You really first must know what you are.
Right.
Know yourself as consciousness itself. And be conscious of your self-talk. Okay? Watch what it's doing to your body. Watch what it's doing to the field. All right. And then start tinkering with it. The first thing that happens when you wake lucid in a dream is you start testing what you can do. What can I make happen? You know, so you do that here too. This is another dream. I promise you, it's just a dream. We have the power to dream it much better together, but we have to do it first individually. You have to realize individually you have that power. And then you get together with others and you change things. Like, here's a great meditation. You go to bed every night, meditating on a triumph scenario, manifesting it for yourself, put yourself in the vibe where all the things that are upsetting you seem to more or less magically go away. Okay? You're going to waken in the morning and all the stuff that during the midday was upsetting you, which you put yourself in the energy at night as you're going to sleep, okay? You're going to imagine that you wake up in the morning. This is the triumph scenario. You wake up in the morning and it's all gone. All of that stuff has just somehow something has happened and it's all gone. People have wakened up, okay? Neighbors are talking to each other again. People aren't hating each other anymore. Go to sleep doing that. Wake. You're not allowed to see the magic happen right before your eyes at first. You're not allowed to see it happen. I've actually materialized things, but I was not allowed to see it happen. I had to look away and look back. Okay? It's the same thing when you go to bed, manifesting everything's better. I'm going to wake up, everything's going to be better. You're actually looking away during your dream time. And when you wake up in the morning, before you get out of the bed, do another triumph scenario, a manifestation. It start with small things. Maybe you've had a long-term misunderstanding with a neighbor, etc., whatever. But magically, you're manifesting that magically it's all going to smooth out. Okay, you're going to know just the gesture to make, and in the morning before you waken, you imagine the neighbor being happy with you and talking to you. When you see them out walking their dog and you say, oh, hi, they don't like shoot you a bird or ignore you. Okay. So this is the sort of way you use it at night and in the morning, and then go about your day and look for the evidence that it is going the way you want it to go. Don't look for evidence you're failing. You will look for what you will to find. Do not look for what you don't will to find.
That's
Michael
it.
asked me that once. I was out looking for my ex-husband to be doing something wrong I didn't want him to do. And Michael popped into mind space and said, my Cailín, why do you look for what you don't want to find?
Yeah, that's profound, and it's also practical. It's also practical. I have a question for you though. You hear so many people talking about energies and the masculine and feminine energies. Do you perceive that? Like, how do you perceive that? Is there a necessity to balance the masculine and the feminine energies? I know you talk a lot about lucidity. Is that what you're equating that balance to?
No, no, no. Lucidity is you're just awake in the dream of the world. You're
Yeah,
no longer identified with your emotions and your self-talk. You're observing them and interrogating them and designing them so that they work better for you. Masculine, I'm female and heterosexual. I adore men, all right? But a lot of people are confused about me because there's two energies here. I am a bicameral consciousness, all right? Michael, my higher self, is so much here constantly, so much in me that people pick up that male energy, all right? But I decidedly am very female and feminine in a weird way. Not that I can't like go fishing and dig worms out of the ground and spear fishermen and stuff like that. I can, none of that to me is unfeminine. The thing is I had a gentleman say to me, and I love this man, but he said to me, you're so much like a guy. And I said, no, I'm like me. And you are conditioned to think women should be a certain way.
right.
Okay. I'm just me. I am not bound by any of the Earth's ideas about what's a male and what's a female energy. I'm a very yang woman. Yes, I am the embodiment of the ability to manifest new life. Okay. Symbolically, but we're all capable of it. It's just that we carry the baby. All right. And the woman carries the child. All right. So for me, a society needs to get over their concepts of what is feminine and womanly and what is male, okay? Because, a very feminine woman can turn into a deadly mama bear if you're messing with her cubs or her man. Okay. And that is to me noble and beautiful about women, that we are the physically frailer gender, but emotionally and spiritually, we're big. We're really big. Okay. And what I have experienced myself as has been very difficult at times to contain in this body, right? Because I experience myself as just massive, massive energetic love. Like I keep reminding people, I'm 67 years old, okay? I don't come off as a 67-year-old person because of the nature of my energy and its intensity, okay? So for me, we need to redefine, we need to slacken up on these gender stereotypes. They're just stereotypes. And I don't think they serve us because men really, they may want a woman who likes to be femme, very feminine and doesn't get her nails dirty or chipped or anything. I don't know very many men like that. I think most men want women to be their friend with whom they can discuss things reasonably rationally and to count on her to be reliable and strong reinforcement and backup. They know they're physically stronger. Okay. Men, on the other hand, need to realize that, like I said, anybody can become bossy and pushy and a bully and act out their anger. Anybody can do that. This is not a sign of strength. Women don't respect it. They might be afraid of it, but they don't respect it. All right. If you want a woman's respect, show her your graciousness. Show her your strength in lovingness, in tenderness, in patience, in givingness. So women, I think, need to be allowed more space to be comfortable with their assertiveness, okay, with being a self-advocate. And as much as they are, we're very good at advocating for others, but not so much for ourselves, okay? Men need to make place for that for us, and then they need to be our backup in it, okay? Because we are physically weaker. And like the man steps in, she's had her say, and the man to someone else, third party, and the man steps in and what she said, and I'm here to back her up. Okay. So it becomes more of an equalizing of respect for each other. So if men want to know what they need to do, they need to learn to be gracious. They need to learn to be gentle. They need to learn that all of these things speak to their strength, not to their weakness. The whole that who wears the pants around here, right? Thinking, really infuriating. We both wear the pants around here, and sometimes he wears one of my skirts. Okay, it's just it's why I love Scotsmen. They like kids.
That's awesome. Fantastic
I'm
response.
close that window. I was listening to 528 hertz right before we did this because I had been joy scrolling, but a couple of doom things came in between. Mostly now I'm looking. I don't look at many YouTube videos anymore. I just do a quick, what's it about sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks interesting, right? Hover over it so I can read the subtitles, right?
Nice.
But a lot of nasty had snuck in there, right? So my field got a little wonky. Anyway, I was listening to 528 hertz to calm myself down. It's amazing. When I was going through Lexapro withdrawals, when I first started doing podcasts about my NDE and these principles that I finally decided to deliver, it was because I thought the Lexapro withdrawals were going to kill me, right? They were really, 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 really bad, really bad. And I was so afraid I was going to die before I delivered the message as I started delivering it while I was in the peak of withdrawals. And every time I did a podcast, I would get all of these chi rushes, just the Shakti all over, and I would feel better because that Shakti is a dopamine jolt. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I was retuning my body chemistry in real time, people. It works. When you're having an off day, I'm feeling much better since we started doing this. When you're having an off day, do something kind and loving for someone else. It is a buzz generator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Go out of your way to help someone. It makes you feel better.
All of that is beautiful. And what you said about the gender roles, that's 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 one of those things that society as a whole, the collective as a whole, has to wrap its mind around, because I think we define ourselves too much by labels. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
liberation in assessing your labels and letting those labels go, not being defined by the labels, as you
Yeah.
perceive them.
And this amazed me actually when he said that you're so much like a guy because he's a psychologist. And I went, wait a minute. You're not very lucid, I'm thinking. Do you not observe yourself being conditioned to think,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Observe that. Observe the conditioning, what you're saying to yourself. Anyway,
yeah.
lucidity rocks, man.
Yeah, it does. It does. And
It really does.
speaking of lucidity, your first book was fantastic. It's the book I read, and I told my husband, I said, if I had to write a book, this is how it would have been done, right? But you
Oh,
followed,
wow.
yeah, but you followed that up with a second book. So tell us about your second book. It's called Master Your Mind and Rise.
Yeah. Okay, well, Rise in Lucidity and Master Anxiety, I wrote after Lexapro withdrawals to teach people about how lucidity came to my rescue as a technique during Lexapro withdrawals. I was able to retune my chemistry, get off the Lexapro, get rid of the depression, the dread, the whole thing. It took 9 months, but I did it. And then I took the same principles or I should say Michael and I, because again, I'm mostly the scribe, but this is taking the same principles of lucidity and applying it to your entire mind, to interrogating your self-talk, okay? Taking it, looking at what is this emotion? It's when you observe, when you're lucid to conquer anxiety, that's very targeted. It's just techniques for managing and obliterating anxiety, and you can get rid of anxiety, okay? Like I said, I was on medication for 5 years for anxiety, okay? And I don't, I have not had an anxiety attack. I still have occasional bits, if I'm scrolling and too much negative stuff creeps in. But then I observe it lucidly and I fix it. I adjust it myself. This is all the same principles applied to your mind in general. Because what you find out is you're doing the lucidity bit, even if it's targeted to one specific problem, you realize, hey, the more I do this, the brighter my lucidity gets, the more intense, the less upsets me. And the trick is to use any suffering at all to make you lucid. When you're a lucid dreamer, you have tokens that you use to make you realize you're dreaming. Things that say, go, oh, I'm just dreaming. Okay. For me, it started with fear in my dreams, right? Michael trained me when I felt fear to become lucid, and also flying. If I'm doing something that seems impossible, I go, okay, I'm in a different dream venue. This isn't the real world. And that's an interesting thing too. But we can talk about that when you like. Basically, Master Your Mind and Rise is applying these techniques to, when I talk about rising, I mean growing your lucidity. Rise in lucidity and master your mind and rise. So you're growing your lucidity, you're rising in your identification. You're not identifying with the body, you're not identifying with the self-talk, you're not identifying with your story. You're no longer identified with the mind that attacks your peace. And as you pull your identification out of all of these things that are not you, because you're the consciousness observing all of it, you're rising in lucidity. So as you master your mind and you take back more and more of your life, your belief in the self-talk that powers your outrage, your pain, your suffering, you get stronger and stronger, and you start using it on everything, not just on targeted individual problems. You start, in fact, when you get upset about something, you go, oh, goody, goody. We've discovered another thing that I can take my power back from, right? You're not, you go, oh, that really infuriates. Oh, great. This is a wonderful opportunity. Okay. And this is really the attitude of, I don't know, the tarot card is art or temperance. You know, you are taking the poison that life offers you and turning it into the elixir that feeds your lucidity, right? So this is mastering your mind becomes something that you love to do. And anytime you find yourself emotionally outraged or deeply hurt, you recognize it instead of a bad thing. Instead of going, oh, this is really bad, you go, oh, this is great. I've discovered another thing that I can take my power back from. You get to where nothing upsets you practically. So when something finally does, you've noticed that means there's a lot of my power being hijacked by some self-talk that's destructive to me, right? So it generalizes all of the tools of lucidity. And none of these books are long, and we make them just long enough that if you're not familiar with the principles at all, it's going to take you about 4 or 5 days to read it. Okay. If you are familiar, you can read it in 1 day. All right. If you've done Ask Sim, you're gonna 1 day. All of these books. So that was one of the major complaints about A Course in Miracles. It was too long. It was intimidating, and there was a lot of words for a few chunks nuggets. These books are written very, very dense. That's why they'll take you longer to read them. And you should read them. And the shortness also encourages you to read them more often, because they can help you readjust your field when it's gotten out of whack. And that's a key technique, by the way, for anxiety and upset, is that when I start to feel like any kind of anxiety coming in, the body has a physical reaction. I go, oh, okay, there it goes again. All right, I'm going to go do something that challenges my mind that I have to put my attention in, because the anxiety attack gets all of its power over you from you paying attention to it. Okay. The moment you take your attention and put it in something that is a little mentally challenging, the anxiety begins to die. It just dies. If you go, oh, there was a scary thought. Oh my God, my heart beat really fast. Oh God, now my bowels are grinding. Uh-oh, oh, that's how you have an anxiety attack. When you have the first bad thought, if you're lucid, you go, oh, I saw that little cockroach thought run through my mind space, saying, something must be done, something must be done. Ask it, what needs to be done? And if it just disappears into the walls of your mind space and scratches around in there, won't give you any action items, it's not real, it's just anxiety. Put your mind on something else. Instantly, do multiplication tables. Anything that requires you. Today, I had a little anxiety and I started doing an IQ test. It was mentally very challenging. The anxiety was gone. Like I didn't even notice it was gone until about 5 minutes later, and I went, it worked again. So yes, master your mind and rise. The more you master your mind, the more lucid you become. The more you become the god of your own reckonings.
Yes. Nice. Beautiful. I loved it. I love the first one and I love this one as well. So these are
Well, we
fantastic.
just finished writing the first draft of the third one, which is the
Oh wow.
long-awaited The Dream of Awakening.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I'm doing the fine tuning on that one, and it's going to be about 33,000 words. They're all about 33,000 words. And yeah, that should be out in the next couple of weeks,
Nice. That's beautiful. I
available in
love
our
it.
store.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Crackpot Publications. That's right.
No, Crackpot Publishing. The old
Got
store
it.
is crackedpotpublications.com, and you can buy our products there, but you can't schedule a coaching session with me there. If you want
Gotcha.
to schedule a coaching session with me, you have to go to crackedpotpublishing.com.
Nice. Okay.
And I'd
Got
rather you went to crackedpotpublishing.com, because I get more money for my products rather than having, you know, the other platform take some dollars every time I sell something.
Got it.
So
Got it.
please go to Cracked Pot Publishing.
Yes, absolutely. Do that. Do that. I recommend these books highly because they are, just like you said, they are very dense, very packed full of nuggets of wisdom, and they are quick
Yeah,
reads. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. They're
They're
from
very good.
Michael's perspective, though. So just like the Course in Miracles, and this is so funny, the Course came into my life 3 different times. And the third time I was reading it again, and my BS detectors went off, waste of time detectors. And I read something, set it off, and I said, "Oh, this is ridiculous, Michael. I'm setting it." So he's the one who said, "No, give it a try." And he said, "No, no, 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 no. Go back and read that again." And I went back and I read it again. And suddenly the meanings of the words, because the words have a mundane and a spiritual interpretation. And if you're reading it in the mundane interpretation of the words, not in the spirit, you're not in the spirit, you're not going to understand it. You have to read it with the spiritual interpretations of the words for you to get it. And that was what was happening with the Course. I was reading the mundane interpretations of the words and going, this is bullshit. And then when I read it, Michael said, no, no, try it again, read it again. It was suddenly everything, the meaning shifted, and it was truer it's so incredibly true that I was like gobsmacked. Okay. Oh my God. So what A Course in Miracles does gently over time, if you stay with it, is it for you to understand it, you have to shift your interpretation of the words. You have to shift into a spiritual interpretation. And so the way you filter the information coming in changes. You're shifting. This is the shift in identification, okay? And you're gradually becoming more lucid, more awakened. These books, in contrast, are for people who are already somewhat awake and want a good shake, okay? That will really shake you lucid, where you go, oh, now I know exactly what they're talking about, all right? The skill set that the Course in Miracles doesn't really talk about a skill set, but it talks the whole time about changing the way you perceive, changing perception. These books tell you the actual skill set of changing intentionally your own perception. It starts with lucidity, okay? Realizing you are not your emotions and not your self-talk, and nothing that's happening in the world is to blame for your bad internal state. That's all the result of your self-talk, and you are the God of all your reckonings, okay? So these books actually give you the tools to help you have more and more of an experience of lucidity, brightening lucidity, and being in charge of your subjective state no matter what's going on. We all experience this shift in an emergency, or we die. It's a selective pressure. If you're a person who turns Chicken Little and runs around doing ineffective things when there's an emergency, you're not going to last to reproduce. If you're lucid when an emergency goes down and you're dealing with it, forget the emotions. This is no time to deal with emotions, okay? No time. We have to be effective, all right? And I think being a cop for 4 years actually really was very helpful for that. I remember one particular day, there was a riot out in the parking lot after a football game, and it came over the radio, and I looked at the people next to me and said, somebody should call the cops. And then I realized it was me, and I clicked my heels together 3 times. I went, no place like home, no place like home. Because I was the one who was going to have to go out there, and there'd been firearms seen right out at the riot. And I was the one. So, yeah, take a beat, realize you're the one that's got to handle it. It's up to you to do the ha-cha-cha. Stop whining and moaning about it, or whine and moan about it for a little while, and then do what you need to do. Do it lucidly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It sounds like the Course in Miracles is like a walk from normal, everyday, mundane life into the heart, and your books take you a little bit deeper dive into the heart, into realization of those things.
Into empowerment.
Yeah.
It's into empowerment. That's the whole point, is like
Yeah.
the course is about why, convincing you have a godly estate, convincing you that you aren't this frail being you appear to be, trying to get you in touch with that. These works are more about taking everything the course teaches and reframes it very slightly so that you can use it for your own empowerment to actually make things happen the way you want them to. Spoiler alert, you can't do it except for in your benevolence. This is what you're cultivating, is your benevolence and your lucidity. And the two of them coupled together allows you to actually shift into what I would call holy perception, because you are no longer just looking at things from your point of view. You're looking at it from other people's point of view too. And you're taking everyone into account. And you're doing that at an energetic level, approaching one another, not to oppose or compare ideas, but through your humanity, your shared humanity. Okay. Because it's at the heart, we're all connected. So yeah, we need a little gentler approach, but at the same time, we need to be gentle in our power.
Very well said. So we're nearing the conclusion of our time together, but I want to ask before you go, what is your process? Like, what is your everyday process? Do you do meditation? Do you do qigong? What are the things that you do to keep yourself in alignment on the day to day?
I live more in a constant lucidity is a meditational state. When you are when you're lucid, you are this vast, spacious kind of blankness, watching what's happening to the mind or in the mind and the emotions that you no longer identify with. So you've created this spaciousness, or you've realized, I should say, the spaciousness that was always you, and you abide in that state. The great thing about the present times for me is that there's plenty of stuff that I have PTSD. My body has PTSD. Okay. PTSD is stored in your body. Okay. So the body has reactions. You don't just use this on your emotions, you use it on your body too. So your body has reactions that you observe instead of being, instead of letting them bowl you, the consciousness, over. All of that's happening inside of you. It's not you, it's happening inside of you. And a lot of it is illusion that you talk yourself into by focusing on it so much that it becomes what you identify with. So what I do is I do meditation at night, and I do it in the morning. I imagifest at night and I imagifest in the morning. I listen to a lot of theta brainwave state binaural beats. I listen to 528 hertz, 33 hertz. These are all very soothing for your form. It's kind of like I do earthing. I walk around now these days, again, barefoot a lot, and I get outside to earth to balance, to ground myself to the earth. I'm finding I have much bigger chi flows available on demand from the earthing and from lucidly structuring my self-talk. So basically, I'm in a constant state of meditation, observing what's going on inside me. But as for, and structuring it myself, acting as the God of what's going on. But I do expose myself to certain music that is helpful to me, and I use theta brainwave all night long while I'm sleeping, binaural beats, because there's a train not that far away, and I waken rather easily, so I wear earplugs that Soundcore. They're the best I've found so far. Little ad there for Soundcore. But yeah, mostly that. So I don't really, except for the manifestation at night and in the morning, and then I'm just kind of in a meditative state all day, and then I use music. And I also use my aquarium. Okay. I don't know if you can see the sign above my aquarium. Is
No,
it in
it's a little
reverse?
bit blurry. Yeah, it's blurry.
Is it? Is it
Yeah.
in reverse?
I can't even tell because it's, oh, there it is. I see it.
Can you
Breathing
read it?
some, who the fuck you are.
No.
Oh,
It says,
yeah, I see it. Breathe and remember
take
who
a
the
deep
fuck you
breath.
are.
Take a deep breath and remember who the fuck you are. Okay? Because I mean that's I'm a kind of burn the boats person.
Yeah,
Just we're on shore now. We're not going if we leave, we're gonna leave in the boats of the locals. That's the way I am. No turning back. All right.
yeah.
So that's me right there in a nutshell. I feed the fish and the anemones and the zoanthids and take care of everybody, and I love them and I make them beautiful and I try to create a little space where paradise can be. Okay. And these are all the things. And then I have my cats, and I have
Yeah.
peacocks in the backyard, so they feed your soul. I go outside and I talk to the birds. So yeah, stuff like that. And I write.
Nice,
I channel
nice.
for Michael.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. This has been a fantastic conversation. I always love talking to you. You are
I love
so
talking with you.
packed full of wisdom. It's packed full of
Oh,
wisdom. And I love the way you write because you write the way you talk. And it comes
do I?
across so, you do, and it comes across so genuine. I love that. I love that. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Well, I'm just basically kind of a grail for Michael's energy.
Hmm.
And I see now that they knew all along, Michael and the other conspiring to make the world a better place, They knew all along that I was going to be too high energy, wanting to run around and do stuff, very physical person all my life, that I was going to be that way until I got older and I'd slow down, right? This is me slowed down. And my hips had to be replaced starting at age like 55 because I wore them out from physical activity. So I can see now that Michael had a hard time keeping me alive, you know, in the venue, and he kept saying to me this when I would wake up as a child from a bad dream, rather than getting lucid and staying in the dream, he would say, "No, no, you should stay in the dream. Don't just wake up." And I was like, "Why? It was a bad dream." And he was like, "Well, only a lucid dreamer can change the dream, but you have to stay in the dream to change it." And then when I was killed, it was the same thing. I had the revelation, the life review, and a revelation of lucidity and what it meant and how the world could use it and how it would end suffering if people took it on board and really focused on it. Right. And I remembered only a lucid dreamer can change the dream of the world, but I have to get back into the dream to change it. Right. And
Yeah.
so now I'm like focused. I know at 67, I've probably got, 10 to 20 more years. They say I have the heart of a 30-year-old. That's good news. But and I'm keen to stay here working as long as he wants me to, because I'm on purpose now. And
Yeah.
for all the years I was broke because nobody wanted to hire me because I still have mild seizures, partial focal lobe seizures every day. And so that's a disability. But I kept saying to Michael, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. And he said to me, deliver your message and your message will deliver you. So, I can see now they've been waiting for me they cornered me. They've cornered me. I wasn't going to do this until I had to. And now I'm so glad they worked it out that way, because
Nice.
it's really I'm happy to be doing this. It's the first time I've really felt in my purpose,
Yeah.
and this is really good. I make as much impact as I can while I'm here, and then I'll be ready to go when I'm ready to go, when they're ready to let me out of here. He said, I sent you into time, and I am the one who will rescue you from it. So when he's ready to rescue me, I know I've done everything I was supposed to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's
So
beautiful. I appreciate you. You are a gift, really. and
Thank you.
surely.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you.
you. You are a beautiful, beautiful soul, and I honor your presence, and I thank you for being here and
Thank you.
speaking with me today. Is there anything else that you have that you would like to share that you feel moved to share before we conclude?
Use it all. Suffering is for waking you lucid in the dream of the world. That's what it's for. Every time you're suffering, stop.
Mm.
Ask yourself, observe, interrogate your emotions. What am I saying to myself? And when you've got it put into words, ask yourself, is it the truth? Is it true? Is it fair to everyone involved? And is it serving you? And when you clearly see that it is not serving you and it is not true, the power will just come back to you. And the strong, uncomfortable emotion will just die. And its death is the feeling of the energy coming back. It's like chains falling off of you, okay? More and more. And for somebody who's been through all of the things I've been through, really identified with a horrible dream I had in the world, I'm grateful for that now. If I can help you, if I can help the world, that's what I came back to do. And this is the perfect time for it, people. Now, it's up to us to make a difference. We don't do it by fighting with each other. We do it by being the gods of our own reckonings, by being lucid and empowered over what we create subjectively. And what you create subjectively, you're sharing with the world. And I love you all.
Yes, beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Hear us. Our presence carries with it the emanation of divine light, the omnipotent, omniscient omnipresence, which, of the very nature of its being, sustains all life as life itself. Of this, know. Our presence is not without cause. Our presence not without purpose. For our being wills to light the way of highest realization for the whole. Our light is our being. As divine presence, we are here as the eternal light and life which colors our world. Open on all levels, across all planes, through all dimensions. Divine light is without fear. Divine light is without prejudice. Divine light, of which we live and breathe, is our being. Grant yourself permission to know. We of the All are the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient divine force as unique expressions of love. We of the All are eternal liberation for all that binds. And we of the All are not veiled. Know us. Know thyself.